Nothing stays hidden forever. Nothing stays hidden forever. I know what you've been doing at night. Oh, the truth must come to the light. 'Cause nothing stays hidden forever. Nothing stays hidden forever. Welcome, beautiful souls, beautiful beings. Welcome back to a crystalline temple. Welcome back to crystalline temple. Thank you for staying in tune with my frequency, with my vibe. I'm going to be talking about a little bit of heavier things today. So get cozy, open your heart space. The intention for this video is to spread awareness, compassion about mental health and grief. And if anything in this video is triggering for you, I do apologize. And remember that our triggers are guides to healing. So, yes. Grief is a strange thing, I must say. Because it doesn't just take someone from you, it literally changes the way your mind works in general. At least I've come to realize this. It literally changed how I think, how I feel, how I navigate and move through the world as well. I often ponder, what if grief doesn't just affect your emotions, but it actually changes how your brain functions and your brain chemistry? What if losing someone can reveal things that you've had masked for such a long time, such as ADHD, anxiety, depression, even autism? Not because they suddenly appeared out of thin air, but because something in your brain literally shifted enough for you to finally see them and realize, oh, I can no longer wear a mask anymore. I do feel like grief strips you from the mask you wear in public around loved ones, and it reveals to you your raw, authentic self and your emotions. And I'm going to dive into that. So let's talk about grief and the brain. Grief is not just emotional, it's neurological. When you experience loss, your brain enters a prolonged state of stress response. And we all know stress is not our friend. Stress is very impactful to the body. The amygdala, this is a part of the brain. It's the part of the brain that processes fear, emotional pain. And during grief, it becomes extremely more active. Your prefrontal cortex is responsible for your focus, your decision making, and regulation, and that also becomes less active, extremely less active during grief. Your hippocampus, also another region of the brain if you didn't know. The hippocampus is what helps us with memory and processing, and that becomes disrupted while you are grieving. That's why grief can literally feel like brain fog. And it's been 2 years since my mother passed away. And I have changed so much. The Nadia prior to her passing is not the Nadia now. Yes, some of those issues have definitely carried along and have been intensified and heightened during this time. So if you feel like you can't think clearly, like you're not yourself, it's because your brain is trying to process something it cannot fully digest, that it cannot fully process, that it cannot fully understand. In order for me to really get y'all to digest what I am putting down, I feel it's important for me to really explain to you not only the functionings of the brain, but also the chemicals of the brain. So, what is dopamine? Dopamine is often misunderstood as just the feel-good chemical because it's responsible for reward and drive. And it also allows you to initiate tasks, have motivation, stay interested, follow through. It's what makes something feel worthy of doing. Grief plus dopamine imbalance equals depression. Okay? During grief, dopamine levels drop. And can you imagine grieving for years? How low your dopamine has to be? I literally saw a nutritionist maybe 2023, end of 2023, not too long after she passed. And she literally was like, "Yo, are you okay?" She said, "I barely had any chemicals to properly, for my dopamine and my serotonin levels to properly function." And she was literally legitimately concerned. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Actually, I've been grieving. So, yeah." But also, B12, certain amino acids are super important in your dopamine. If you're not getting that, that's only going to add on to things. So I don't want you guys to think that it's just one-sided of just being completely emotional and due to stress. It's all holistic. Our body, when stressed, consumes way more than it needs to, especially if your cortisol is high and activated all the time. Your body is essentially being stripped of these certain compounds, nutrients, vitamins, minerals than if you were not in a state of stress. And I've realized due to depression, the things that I once loved to do became so distant. And even now, it's been a struggle for me to be like, oh my God, this is something I enjoy to do. But why am I not doing it? I have no will to do it. I have no drive. And when I do it, it's like, eh. Why motivation disappears, is because of this. Grief is why motivation disappears. Grief is why simple things feel heavier. This is also a core part of depression. Depression isn't just sadness, it's loss of drive, a loss of connection to reward. And we see how loss of a loved one can internally create loss in your inner world. So let's dive into ADHD and dopamine. I have also been diagnosed with ADHD. And in ADHD, dopamine pathways are naturally dysregulated. So when grief lowers dopamine even more, it can amplify ADHD symptoms. My therapist was literally like, it's crazy how all of these have come to the surface after your mom's passing. And I was like, I'm not surprised. Nobody really paid attention to me, okay? But at the same time, I was masking so much. And grief, once again, grief's like, mask off, okay? Having difficulties starting tasks, initiating tasks, once again, inconsistency, seeking stimulation, losing focus. It's not laziness. And this whole time I thought I was just like lazy, but it's literally my brain not having the fuel that it needs to function in a balanced, healthy way. I want to sprinkle this back in here about anxiety chemistry. Okay? Your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. Your amygdala stays active, and calming chemicals like serotonin and GABA become imbalanced. So your body stays in a heightened state. So we're piecing together all these puzzles from ADHD, depression, autism, anxiety, all on top of grief. We are experiencing life on top of grief. And let's dive into executive functioning, because when I bring this up to a lot of people, they don't understand because they think that you just have to just do it, right? Executive functioning is your brain's ability to turn thoughts into actions. It's managed by the prefrontal cortex. It allows you to plan, to organize, to regulate your emotions, manage time, and follow through. We can clearly tell that at this point, grief weakens executive functioning by a huge degree. That's why you may know what you need to do, but you feel unable to do it. This is the blockage that I deal with all the time. And it's not a lack of discipline, because this whole time I've been like, I'm not disciplined. I'm not disciplined. And it's just that grief has literally took me off track. An unplanned passing, an unplanned death, of course, that would just take you on a ride where you feel like you can't keep up with life. You can't keep up with things. You can't even keep up with your self-care. You can't even keep up with responsibilities. You might extremely procrastinate to get things done. And this is normal. So I don't want you guys to think that there's something wrong with you, that this shouldn't be the way that it is. It is the way that it is at this moment because you are grieving. It's your brain temporarily losing access to its management system. Did you hear me? Your brain is temporarily losing access to its management system. Think of your mind as we can say a library. There is organization at a library. Certain books go certain places, certain themes, certain information is stored in XYZ. And when you go through executive functioning issues, you literally have books in the wrong sections. You can't find any of the right things. You don't even have the will or the drive to reorganize it. You're just like, okay, well, I guess this is how we're existing right now. Diving deeper into this, when you have ADHD, anxiety, depression, it looks different through an executive functioning lens. So if you have ADHD, you're going to have difficulty initiating, impulsivity, and inconsistency. I've always been a very impulsive person, but since my mom has passed, I have been extremely more impulsive to the point where I'm like, I probably shouldn't get this thing, but I'm going to get it anyway. Because at this point, I'm searching for anything that'll make me feel better. Things create the illusion that you don't have to let go, because we want to continue to hold on to this thing that is no longer here because our brain hasn't accepted it yet. And through a lens of anxiety and executive functioning, this can look like overthinking, rumination, difficulty deciding. Lens of depression and executive functioning, this can look like low energy, slowed thinking, lack of drive. All of these things together, you got them all, and yeah, it's a lot. You really need to have grace with yourself and have grace with your loved ones who have lost someone, because grief changes you, and we're living in a world where it's so taboo to talk about death, and that we're just supposed to continue life because life moves on with or without us. Like, let's slow down here and really be considerate. In addition to these things, these can show up in ways people don't always talk about. Like I said, ruminating thoughts that loop. I've struggled so much with having an interaction with someone, saying something, or even something that's really hurt me or trauma, just like ruminating, replaying over and over and over again. And I just can't disconnect from it. And I know this started before my mom passed, but it's only intensified since then. And that's also rooted in anxiety. Intrusive thoughts that feel overwhelming. You have to remember, like, hey, is this my thought? Or is it something that I heard somebody else say in the past? Is this thought my anxiety, fear? Is this thought true? You really have to analyze your thoughts, or just simply become an observer and not attached to them. And that can be very difficult when you're grieving. Impulsivity in reactions or decisions. Once again, like I said earlier, just being like, I want to do this. Because sometimes we can feel like that random thing that you think will bring you excitement or help you to feel something, especially when you're depressed, can turn into you just adding more to your plate and not being able to slow down. And so then you're trying to do all these things and you're still not content because there's an underlying theme and underlying issue. Difficulty creating consistency is very, very difficult, especially with someone with autism, because we are expected to have a structure and a routine, and I just don't. And I haven't for like 2 years or more. And once again, this is intensified from a lens of grief. And that has caused a lot of chaos. And I know I will be so much better if I have a routine and structure, but it's like I forgot where to even start. I don't even know what I want it to look like or how I want it to flow. So I've just kind of accepted this state of just like, okay, we're just gonna do whatever whenever we want. But that can easily turn into something that's very self-destructive. Once again, these are not random things. They are how your brain processes stress, emotion, and regulation. So when these overlap with grief, clarity literally becomes harder, consistency becomes harder, even making grounded, responsible decisions can feel overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. At this point, you're not just thinking, you're carrying so much. You're carrying so much, and you just don't know how to let it go. And who knows when you'll be ready to let it go. Or maybe it's something you'll get used to carrying and you'll get a bigger back and stronger or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. So now I'm going to dive into anxiety, depression, and the inner experience, our inner world. Anxiety is your brain trying to protect you. Scans for danger, tries to prevent more loss. But sometimes that turns into constant overthinking, replaying situations, imagining the worst case outcomes, and intrusive thoughts. And I think a major one for us who've lost someone we loved is like, oh my gosh, who's next? I don't want this person to die. When am I gonna die? And it's like you start to just like, you start to see the increase. So you really have to be mindful. Your mind is trying to solve something it cannot control, and that's not fun for your noggin. And as far as depression, it can make your thoughts feel slower, heavier, or stuck in loops. It can make your energy feel low, your body depleted, your nervous system overwhelmed or overstimulated at the same time. And sometimes, even when things in your life are going well, you still don't feel well. And I think that's frustrating for me, because I can continue to be grateful for everything that I have in this present moment. And I can feel like I need to be doing more. I need to be more productive. Like, I have so many blessings right now and I can't even be happy. It's because your brain chemistry is all conjumbled and messed up in the moment, okay? And that can be hard for other people to understand, because once again, people cannot live inside of you, only you can. And your inner world can only be managed by you. So when you start to experience all these things in your inner world, like depression, anxiety, ADHD, maybe a sprinkle of autism, all combined, or even, multiple different combinations, you start to notice shame and guilt. And this is where it begins to form, because you might think, why do I feel like this if nothing is wrong? Things are working out. I should be okay. Why can't I just be grateful? Like I said earlier, like, your nervous system does not run on logic alone. It doesn't. You can have things going right externally and still feel empty, overwhelmed, disconnected, apathetic, like you're battling your own will. That doesn't make you ungrateful. That doesn't make you a bad person. It means your system is still processing something deeper, and you may simply just need some support. Diving into the autism, okay? Autism is often masked already through adaptation, observation, effort, trying to feel safe. But masking takes so much energy, and grief takes energy too. You see where I'm getting at? We on the same page? Okay. All of these things take energy, but grief is the most present one at the moment that is taking energy too. So you don't have the same energy that you had before to hide, to try to protect yourself. You are more vulnerable. That is okay. You need to protect your energy at this time. So when grief enters your life, you may not have the capacity to mask anymore. That is okay. Suddenly, sensory sensitivity increases, social energy decreases, your need for space becomes clear. You didn't become different, you became visible to yourself. When you are continuously masking your neurodivergence and you get used to it, you think that's who you are and that's how you function all the time. But grief will take that.
The fuck?
It'll just like, and then next thing you know, you're just like, damn, here we are, looking at yourself in the mirror, like, here we go. This is life. Life is experiencing you. So, all in all, my whole message for this video is grief changes you mentally, emotionally, energetically. There is no escaping loss. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you a tarantula, you are a condor, you're a human, you're an alien. It does not discriminate. It will meet all of us. And that is a truth. Whatever we define that to be or mean to us is what it is. That's personal. When it does greet you, when grief greets you, when loss greets you, and it's your time or your loved one's time or a person you care about's time, you don't just lose someone, you lose the version of yourself that existed with them. And in a way, it is a transformation. And this is why support is so important. One of the hardest truths, no one can feel what you feel. Like I said, I'm going to continue to repeat that. No one can feel how you feel. No one can live within your inner world or within your body but you. You know, if you have a spiritual practice, a religion, or whatever belief system it is, find your truth. I'm not going to get in belief versus truth. Know that you are not experiencing this alone. Life is experiencing it with you. The creator of life is experiencing it with you. The consciousness that makes you aware of your own experiences is experiencing it with you. Grief and mental health go hand in hand, but it is often overlooked. And now that I've been grieving for a while, I'm like, yo, you know how many people I talk to that have lost somebody? And whether it's before I knew them or afterwards, and they're just different. Grief changes people, and it makes me think that a lot of people on the planet are grieving. Like, we're all grieving in our own way. And it doesn't have to be a loss of a person. It can be a loss of an experience, a loss of love, a loss of appreciation, whatever it may be. You have to experience it. And we forget that we are always experiencing. And so that's why I urge everybody to have compassion. The most hurt people hurt people. I often say you don't know what they went through to make them that way. And it could simply be that they are still stuck deeply in their grief and in their loss. And that is just how they are functioning right now to protect themselves and understand. And that is okay as well. All of our journeys and paths are different. Yes, grief is an experience of life, but adulthood, being a woman, having a body, living in this society, thinking about aliens all the time, food. I could go on and on. We're experiencing so many things simultaneously. So we can't be surprised that whatever neurodivergence we have at the moment is being heightened, intensified, or revealed. Once again, I say this with grace and compassion. Not everyone processes grief the same. Okay? It may take someone 3 months to be like, all right, I'm good, I'm back to what I'm doing. I could take on the world. You could do that. You could be one of those folks. You could be one of those people that takes 10 years, 20 years. You don't know how long it's going to take you and what it's going to take for you to feel okay again. What helps others may not help you. To tell someone like, this is what works for me is great. Like, I do yoga, I dance, I exercise, and that's how I release the weight from my physical vessel. And that's only a layer. There's layers to healing grief, and it takes a combination of things, not just one thing, to feel better, to exist in a higher state and feel more peaceful and alive again. Healing is a journey through your inner world. The only way out is through. It's so important for us to learn how to support others without judgment of what they're going through. We don't know their story. People be going through some crazy stuff. I be talking about my story, and my story be kind of depressing, but then somebody else tells me about their story. It's like, damn, humans be going through the most and doing the most. All this to say, support can look like therapy, movement, medication, journaling, holistic practices, and none of these things that you think will help you feel better should be demonized. I'm saying that right now you won't know until you try. But also know that if you need something to help you get through this wave and so you can come out better on the other side, there's nothing wrong with that. So don't let others define your healing. Seek support that meets you, because sometimes the people we love aren't enough to hold everything we're going through. I'm going to say that again. People we love aren't enough to hold everything we are going through. They're only one person. You're only one person. You can't expect this one person to be like, this is all I need in life. It could feel like that sometimes. But let's be realistic. We all are dealing with our own things. We cannot just drop our burdens onto other people, no matter what. No matter if you think you deserve to be seen. No matter if you feel like you deserve that this person put what they're doing aside for you. Like, no. Give yourself you. Make yourself a priority. See you deeply. If nobody else has time to make space for you in the way that you need, you have to make it for yourself. You are still existing while processing everything. And that is not easy, coming from someone who's been through it as well, okay? Not a lot of people know how to deal with grief in general. We see the state of the world, or let alone how to support someone who is grieving, because it is very much so a personal journey. I can't take emotions away from anybody. I can hold them, and I don't need to hold somebody else's emotions, but that doesn't mean that emotion goes away from them. To all my empathic souls out there, you need to set boundaries at this time. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're grieving through, you need boundaries. The last thing you need to do is carry somebody else's issues. Not my shit, not my toilet. Not my toilet, not my shit. Whatever makes sense to you, whatever makes sense. You may find yourself disconnecting from relatives, shedding friendships, craving solitude, because during your toughest seasons, people reveal themselves. You better see people as they are when they show you who they are the first time. Save yourself some cycles and loops, problems, drama. It's okay to change. Grief changes you. You can't do nothing about it. You just gotta go with the change. Change is inevitable. And while that can be part of your process, it can also create deep, deep loneliness. So when you need support, don't be afraid to seek it, because there is support there for you. It's okay if it feels like things are falling apart. They may actually just be rearranging. You cannot rush this process. Healing is not linear. It moves in spirals. You think you're done, you're moving on, you're like, okay, here we go. Oh, not again. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, not again. And as you go through each of these spirals, it gets lighter. You learn lessons over and over and over again until you're ready to move forward, And it can take, once again, from months to even years, decades, to fully embody a more grounded, healthier version of yourself. So have patience, my loves. Have patience. There's no need to rush your healing. I know it may feel like you need to do what you were doing before you felt this way, before you were experiencing these things. But be patient and don't rush. Create space for yourself to see you clearly, to feel. You can't block out these emotions. You have to sit through them. It's okay to do things that help you regulate and rebalance your emotions, but they're not going anywhere at the end of the day. And remember, you are the alchemist, transmuting the intensity of your life experiences into something new. That's crazy. We do that all the time. And this is only one stage, one level of the motion, of the magic. It may feel and look like forever, but things will get better. And it's very unstable at times. But I wanted to say that grief did not destroy me. It revealed me. And I'm still learning, because grief is a teacher. And I'm learning how to meet myself deeper. So you are not broken. You are simply becoming. To conclude, this is not just a video, y'all. This is a space someone can sit in when they do not have anyone. I am here for you. I might be talking to you through a screen, through this cool technological device that also got issues sometimes, but I am someone experiencing grief too. You are not alone. You are okay. And if you're not okay, that's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to feel like you're weak. It's okay to feel like you have to be strong. It's okay to feel like you don't want to be strong. Life, emotions, grief is complex. So just know that I'm here for you. This is a safe space, my loves. Take care. I'm going to conclude with a song. Skeleton screaming got me tripping over all these bones. You got me tripping over all these bones. Sitting up here missing you, and you're doing me dirty. You're doing me so dirty. All these memories and all this time. Secrets in those empty words, they weren't worth a dime. 'Cause nothing stays hidden forever. Nothing stays hidden forever. My love for you will never die. Lord knows my value, and so do I. Lord knows you don't belong by my side. What a blessing you just tossed aside. Ooh, 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 ooh.